Hello, 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 my friends. I'm AJ, the Toy Weaver, and this is the Oh My Goodness podcast. I'm so excited you're here today. I had a request from a listener, which is so exciting, to talk about finding the flow. What does it look like to find spirit in our everyday? What does it look like to feel connected when everything feels overwhelmed? So, here are some things that I do when I'm feeling squirrely and like a feisty potato, and just like I've got my corn cob holders at the ready, right? So, like always, take what works, leave what doesn't, and comment below with what do you do? What are your tools and tips and tricks that make you feel connected? Friendly reminder, there is an intuition episode. I think it's episode 3. It's episode 5 or below of this podcast that talks about getting that like core connection. And I think that's a really, really helpful place to start as well. But while we're here, let's dive in. Okay. So, first off, sometimes we get the idea that God, spirit, flow has to be this really big thing, that there needs to be this sacred burning bush moment for us to feel connected, for us to feel rooted. We have to have worship. We have to have something major that makes us feel that like rush of connection to know that there's something bigger than us around us that has us, right? And not everybody has that, first off. And not everybody has that every day. So, how do you find it in your everyday? First, I like to notice it in the little things. For me, this is connected to joy in such a way of the way that wind brushes against my face is tap rooted into my body as a magical thing. When I do, y'all have heard me talk about the Forest of Choha dance that we've done at College of Wizardry and in other places of just dancing. That wind moving over my body feels like this like potency of just like, whoa, like, oh, here we are. I've also had a moment when I was in sacred space and talking, and the goddess showed up and she was like, here I am. Like, I am here. I am always here. And at that moment, the wind picked up and it danced through the trees, and all the trees, just their leaves were just, and you could just hear it. So for me now, when I see the light trickling in through the trees, it's like, I'm still here. And when I feel the wind on my face, it's like, I see you. And so for me, every time I'm outside and I have that moment where I feel wind or I see light, it's just like, yeah. And so I think when we get so focused on ourselves and our tiny lives, not saying our lives are tiny, but just we are one human on this very big earth, we miss spanning out. Our energy is so contracted that we miss the interconnection around all of us. Like, how cool is this that we're actually alive? We're on this big rock, we're hurtling through space. There's also waterfalls, and there's people everywhere of all different races, in all different countries, in different cultures, in different languages that are thousands of years old. We've had actual krakens or like giant squids, whatever. We've had dinosaurs. Like, when you think about it, it's just like, whoa. Like, wonder, I think, is the key component here. Is, are we allowing ourselves wonder in our day-to-day lives in a way that helps us feel not alone? Because if we're just like, I have to write all these reports by the end of the day, and I have to do the social media, and I need to do this, and I need to clean my room, it gets really tedious and really boring and really small and really exhausting. But when we can be like, oh, I'm cleaning my room so that way when people come, or like they come into my house, they feel this sense of sanctuary. Like, it's for something greater, like it's playing a greater purpose, or like my room is my place where I rest and recharge so that I can go out in the day and feel good and beautiful. Like, my bedroom is not like a trash room, it's a reinvigoration room. Do you feel like the energy difference of just cleaning my room versus this is the room where I feel restored in? So I'm tending it so that I feel better. It like gives this gravitas that's not like heavy, but more of like intentional, which I think is maybe the right word I want. And the other part of this is speaking it. Is when we see goodness, when we see joy, when we see those sacred moments where time almost pauses, is saying it out loud of, oh, wow, look at this moment of us being here. I'm so glad we get this dinner to like sit and talk together. My husband and I went out for Korean yesterday and kind of just planned out our year ahead and like looked at some different things and the next 2 months because we've been I've been traveling a lot. He's also been traveling, but I just kind of like wanted to get some groundwork under us of like, okay, where are we at? What's going on? Who's where, when, why, And I was like, oh, thank you for this. This feels so good to just have this time to make sure we're same paging on some things. He was like, yeah, me too. And it was just this beautiful, like little moment. And then later that night we played games and it was like, yeah, I love playing games with you. This is delightful. Like, I think those intentional moments make us aware that our life is living. It's like existing, connecting with other people. I think when we're in our screens and in our just so focused on the here, it's just our energy gets really small versus this big, vast universe energy. That connection with God, that connection with flow is so big that we need those moments of looking up and expanding to connect. And I say this as somebody who's been a squirrely potato this last week with my traveling. I've not been journaling. I've not been doing my quiet time. I've not. So this isn't like a judgment thing. This is just honestly me sharing from my own personal experience and also what I've seen from my clients. So no judgment, just sharing what I feel like is true and what I've noticed is it really comes down to those moments of gratitude and pausing and expanding out and noticing what's around us and saying it. And I think too, the other half of this, right? So there's that opening up and being aware of what's here and the lens of connectedness we can put on it. And the other part of that is what's blocking us: shame, shoulds, and speed. When we are feeling shame about who we are, what we're doing, if we're doing enough, if we're being enough, if we're filling the gap, whatever, it blocks us from feeling connected to other people and keeps us isolated. And that shame shuts us down every time and makes it hard to connect, even if you do believe that you can chat with spirit or God like I do. But even if you're like, I just want to feel the flow, it's very hard to feel the flow if you don't think you're allowed to feel the flow because you don't think you're good enough or you did enough. Does that make sense? Like you're like, yeah, the flow is there, but like I suck. So no. It's like it's not how that works. That's not how that works. And that shame can close us off to being open to those divine nudges of helping us open up. Divine, I think, and in my experience, Spirit's always trying to connect with us. Spirit's always trying to be like, hey, I'm here. Just let me know. How can I help? How can I be here? I'm ready. Like you say you want this, but like, hey, we're gonna have to do this. And then you're like, nah, no, and it's like, okay, you let me know when you're ready. The other things are gonna happen if you don't. But like, okay, I'll be here. I'm here when you're ready, you know. And there's no shame. It's just reality, right? Like, okay, are we going to manipulate our way out of this situation? Or are we going to trust that, like, maybe we can let go and not control other people? Like, oh, let's find out. And then if we like actually let go and keep our eyes on our own paper, coming from somebody who's recently realized she's codependent and is like, oh, what? I didn't know. I mean, I had ideas, but anyways, when we then let go and are not trying to be like, but it should look like this and you should be doing this and like that shouldn't like da and just say, okay, that's yours. Here's mine. Here's my space. We're putting less pressure on other people to also connect us to our higher power. And we're putting less pressure on God to put on a good show for us, for other people. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, but when we can disconnect from the, it should look like this and it should look like that, and that shouldn't be happening. And we're just like, okay, here's reality. This part sucks. This is pretty cool. Oh, that's interesting. And when we're just present for what is, we're going to notice some cool stuff that we might not have noticed if we're like, yeah, but it shouldn't look like this. But then you're not going to notice that even though it's 50 degrees and it's hella cold, we've got a beautiful sunrise. But you wouldn't notice that if you were just so angry about it being cold that you didn't go outside. Does that make sense? So the other part about this is wind speed. Do you ever notice? Melanie and Lara said something. She's like, I always poke myself in the eyeball with my mascara when I'm rushing. I never do it when I'm not rushing. How often are we having frustrating days when we're rushing? We're like, of course, it's this thing on this day too, because everything's already gone. And it's like, oh, when we can slow down and just be like, okay, I'm running a little behind today. How can I adjust? When we're not, oh, I gotta go. We're gonna miss out on some of those divine connection, those like moments to be like, oh, okay. Because we're like so focused on the next thing and what we should be doing that we're rushing so much that we don't actually feel that connection. For me, okay, so those are those. How do you feel it? From everybody's different. So I'm speaking of my experience. But for me, it's I feel like a chill goes down my body. Like I feel it in my head and like runs through, or it runs up through the back of like my spine. And it's like, oh, oh, do it again. You know, what is it? Like, oh, I can't remember what movie that is. But maybe Atlanta. Anyways, um, but it's like my body breathes. Like there's my soul breathes. I take up more, there's more open space in my body when there's a moment where I'm like, that's it's like that wonder, that awe, that like, oh wow, look at that. And like maybe it's the sun, it's often nature for me, but or I'll see humans doing something and there'll be like a little girl twirling in like a sparkly skirt and her dad being like, you're so beautiful, or like, look at you go, or something. I'm like, oh, my heart. Like, but it's like I got to witness this moment. Like that's like a moment with a capital M, right? So when I see those moments, sometimes whether it's that or at sunset or I'm with people that I'm like, oh, what a gift we're having this. A lot of people hear me say that often. Like, oh, what a gift this is, or this feels so delightful, or like, oh, this moment is just so And it's me screenshotting kind of in my brain, but also it's my body breathing it in of like, this is life. This is what it's about. It's like expanding my awareness and it feels like um I don't have a better word for it right now than my body breathing. But it feels like my spirit is breathing like it doesn't even feel like it's happening at the same time, but it just feels like my spirit is taking up more space outside of my body than I am. Maybe that helps. Um, I always call them like sacred moments. Like it just feels like those movie moments where I could hear music happening, like, wow, and just pausing and like taking it in. I think honestly, a lot of it is pausing and noticing because we probably have these moments, but either we're not paying attention, we're rushing, we're shoulding, or we're shaming. And we're disconnecting ourselves because we're like, oh, I don't get that. I don't get that magical life because I'm too busy or blah, blah, blah. But even when on days like today or this week where I haven't done the things I know I need to, and when I say need to, I don't mean it in a shaming way. I mean it in a like I don't feel like me when I don't do the things I need to do to feel like me. I don't feel as good in my body. I don't feel as good in my soul. It's harder for me to connect. When I take that time to be intentional and connect here, like me and spirit, and when I dress in clothes that bring me joy, I feel more centered in myself. Like I just feel more grounded and I feel less scattered, which helps me be more present for the people around me. Makes me feel more present. So when I feel a drop in or a download or however you want to say it, or I feel connected to spirit, I can hear spirit speak. I can hear God speak and be like, oh, okay, okay. Yeah. I need to go do this, or I need to go do this, or I can be like, okay, I need to stop this. I can feel the nudge of like, oh, we're spiraling. Okay, let's stop. Versus if I'm scattered and if I didn't go to the workout or if I didn't journal, then I'm like, oh, what do I need to do? I'm all over the place. But when I take the time to be intentional with the setup of my morning and my day, everything goes more smoothly. And so my invitation here is also, how is our day set up? Are we setting ourselves up for success to have the ability, to have the capacity to feel the nudges, to notice those small shifts in energy where we're like, oh, that was really cool. That was really nice. Moving on. Do you see how versus like, oh, that's cute. Moving on. There's no taking it in. So let me know if that helps. They're just like little things. And I have this happens with clients a lot. They're like, okay, and I want to get more connected. I want to do. And it's like, okay, like let's tap in. What do you feel? Can you feel your energy? Can you feel that like joy, that rootedness, that taproot, your core essence of you? Run that through your body. What's your baseline of how you know you're connected? And then get that running multiple times a day, even if it's just for 30 seconds. Like you're redoing your baseline to be one of connection, not one of like interruption and like da 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 da. So the more you practice, it's a practice like anything, the easier it's going to be to feel connected because you are connected, because you just are. The way I exist now spiritually, years of practice. And like, granted, I grew up in a faith where God was so real and tangible to me. And now it's just expanded. So now like so many things are real and tangible to me. But like the peace I feel and the openness I feel, that's new. That's like 4 years old. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Like before it felt like, because this might help for my atheist folks. Before it felt like, okay, there's a pipeline. There's a connection between me and God or me and Jesus that I can chat with and I can get nudges from. But now it feels like everything is spirit touched, everything is spirit tinged, everything has possibilities laced into it. It's like in the Bible, it talks about everything is God breathed, right? Like the Ruach. And I think the Bible Project did this video and it just like rocked me and it changed the way I see so many things actually. But it's like the Holy Spirit, like that breath is like, it's like this gold sparkle that went on the earth and like trees grew and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's how I see it. It's like everything is everyone, everything is got this gold sparkle of just like possibilities and connection and like wonder. Cause like, wow, we're here at this moment. What are the odds? What is this possibility? What is this moment? And also, like, what are the things that you have evidence for that you've been connected, right? So on days where I'm like, nothing really matters, like, it's all terrible, everything's ruined, we're all gonna melt. Like, everybody has those days. I have those days. That we're just like, we need to go to bed. Like, don't touch anything. I remember and call back to the evidence and the things I know to be true because of my past experience, right? College of Wizardry, my travels, my friendship. I got to go see my family recently and thought like that was really good. And like having my mom play with my hair is like one of my favorite things. And I got to like just sit and she like played with my hair for 20 minutes. I was like, my heart, this is everything. And it's just like, oh, this is a sacred moment. Like, what if the sacred moments that we're taught are sacred moments aren't actually all the sacred moments there are? What if sacred moments is a much wider hula hoop than we expect? That might open things more, right? Coloring, making art, being creative, being with friends, listening to music. You know, when a music song comes on and it's like closing time, what do you call that when the sun goes down? Sundown. It's like sundown time and you're driving and a perfect song comes on and you're like, oh man, this is road trip music. And it's that like snapshot music. Let me know if y'all feel the same way. But I feel like everything in my life is so richly connected that that's how I see everything. That's all how I see all these moments. And so when I don't have that, that's when I know I'm blocking it because I feel so richly connected often that if I'm not, it's because I'm being a squirrely potato and I'm shaming myself about something, which has been true this past week. And I'm shitting myself about something, which has been true this past week. And I'm racing through stuff, which has also been true about this past week, which is why this morning I was like, and we're getting back on the, like, let's get back into the groove of things. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I'm alive. Here we are. Oh, and I like feel like Does that make sense? So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if y'all have any questions. Such a good question. Because we forget, right? Because we're humans. But trust that you bringing a little bit of gratitude, awareness, speaking things out loud, and noticing and pausing, pause and breathe into those moments. mm, so good. It'll change things. And it's a practice. Give it time. Give it time. It's a practice because we're also rewiring our brains and we're connecting our brains with our body and our nervous system because our body is what notices that, right? And our brain's like, it doesn't count because it's not productive and it's not keeping us safe. Because sometimes holding that expanse gets us connected and then we're like, oh, it's a really big world and also there's a lot of stuff going on. But if you can feel connected to the possibilities and knowing that we're all doing this the best we can. Oh man, there's a lot of hurt. There's also a lot of joy, right? It gives this nuance, richness, that umami flavor, I think is what they call it. So sing your soul song, friends, and have a marvelous day.